Okay, let's take a look at this Cisco Explorer 8642 HDC. It's the front of the box. Got a few function buttons here. Time display. Pretty much the same basic functions that are on the remote. Let's look behind it. We have a coaxial in, RCA out, component out, audio out, SPIF, digital audio out, optics, fiber optics out, coax out, one HDMI, a USB, and a few other useless hard drive and camera plugs that are non-functional, and Ethernet and power, and then also a power out. A lot of these other inputs and outputs, they're not active standard from the cable providers. On top I have my my Google TV box, which I temporarily disconnected because I wanted to get, there was just too many wires in the way. Let's go back and let's actually try to look at some of the software of this thing. Now I'm trying to use my camera on my phone and hold the camera at the same time. All in all, this box produces a really good picture. It's got about a 500 gig hard drive, and it's been pretty solid. There's been a few issues which I'll get into, but all in all, I've had it for about a year and a half right now, and I'm pretty happy with it. The software looks like this. Let's go into the guide. There's your guide with your channels and show content. To the left, it's got the little mini display of what channel you're on, and in the center, up top, you've got specific information to that channel that you're on, and then the actual body of the guide, which is where that yellow bar is. You scroll through the guide up and down. You can go right. But one thing I did notice, though, you can't go left, so you can't go backwards in time. You know, which on the older Motorola box you could, but for some reason they've disabled that. I guess they figure if it's happened already, nobody cares about it. So let's look at the guide again. We'll hit our guide button and our navigation button. Now let's look at the DVR, the actual hard drive. There's the hard drive. By default, it comes up in combined view. If you look here, right there, it comes up in combined view. That's because I actually have two of these boxes. I have two host boxes. Typically, the installation, you can get up to 5 boxes, one host for clients, or a combination thereof. I decided to go with 2 host boxes. I wanted to double my recording capability, and I have a lot more storage space. The nice thing about this box is it is a networkable box. It operates on the MoCA platform, consisting of MoCA filters strategically placed at certain points within the house wiring to allow two-way communication between all boxes. To cycle through the drives, by default, as I said, it comes up in combined view. If I went ahead and hit the DVR button again, it then switches to my bedroom. I don't know if you can read that right here. That's the actual cable box that's in my bedroom, and they break up the guide into something they call cards. Each segment, little square on the TV, is a card. So in the center card here, that's displaying what's actually on my upstairs DVR. And my wife has got a lot of crap on that drive. Actually, she took them both over. I specifically got 2 so I could have one and she could have another, but she commandeered all of them with her shows. But got to keep them happy. And if I hit DVR again, it comes up in family DVR. This is actually this box here. And that's the content that's actually on this box. And then when I hit DVR again, it goes back to the default, which is combined view. So now I'm looking at every hard drive in the center. And so that's the DVR. Maybe we can go into a show here. They've got it arranged in folders, which I kind of like. So, you know, the Laker game, there's a folder, Chicago Fire, Modern Family, those are all, every show gets its own folder. And as you can see in the Laker folder, I've got 2 games. Okay. I wonder, maybe it's there. The last problem I had severe tiling watching the Laker game, and it may have been recorded, but I don't remember if I did. I don't really want to get into it now. But anyway, that's the DVR. And if we exit, we can simply hit the exit button. And now we can go into the guide. There's your guide again. Okay. Can exit out of there. We can also go into the menus button. I should show you the remote here. Here's the remote. A typical remote. You've got the navigation buttons for moving around in the guide. Select in the center. Up here we have the navigation buttons for the where did my light go? Can you see that? I hope you can. Anyway, we do have a light on this thing too, this remote. See how it lights up a little bit, which is kind of cool when you're lying in bed and it's dark, but pretty standard remote. Let me show you guys the settings. There's the settings menu. It consists of 3 cards, just like everything else. On the left card, we got users, parental controls, channels, guide options, audio, video, timers, and receivers. Let's start at the top and go into users. In the users folder, we have on the center card displaying what's in the users, we have set current user. I've got myself as a user. You could put the wife as a user, the kids, and so on and so forth. Add new users, edit the users, or delete the users. Going back over into parental controls. Man, this is a pain trying to hold the camera and manipulate this thing. Okay. We got parental controls and parental locks. As a subsection of that, set parental pin, we all know what that is, and a purchase pin, which is nice because you can actually lock out the ability to buy movies and so forth from the kids or visiting guests or whatever. So that's a nice feature. This one is channels, and in this particular settings, you can set the favorite channels, which is a nice feature. You know, you skip over all the other channels when you surf. You can specifically go to channels that you like to watch, set skip channels, and set power on channels. Kind of like a useless feature, you know, like, yeah, I guess when you turn it on, if you want to start on a specific channel, that's good. But, okay, guide options. This is a little more useful. You can actually go in there and set how you want that guide to display. By default, it comes up in a grid view, kind of like a spreadsheet grid view with all the names of the shows and columns and so forth. You can change the look of that. Recommendations, banners, keyboard, closed captions, other settings. Let's take a look at other settings. English, Spanish, language, guide text size, and guide aspect ratio. Aspect ratio is the actual size of the guide, whether it'll fill out the whole screen or not. We'll go back and go back a little bit. Audio and video settings. Okay, so there's the audio. We'll go into that. It has 2 options only. You can, on the first one, volume level, it's either fixed, varied, or variable, or it's fixed. Analog out, mono, stereo, or surround. Digital out, pulse code modulated, or Adobe. digital. And dynamic range, narrow, medium, or wide, and audio language, primary, alternative, whatever the hell that is. Video settings is I find more useful. Here's where you can actually set the output video format of the actual video coming out. Right now I've got mine set to 1080i because I'm using HDMI and it is an HD TV. But if you had like a standard definition TV, some people still do, you can kind of scale it down a little bit so your TV doesn't freak out when it sees that 1080i output. It does not have 1080p output capabilities though. I'll cycle through them for you so you can see all the outputs. It's 480p, 480p standard, and 720p, and it maxes out at 1080i. So no 1080p on this particular model of boxes. So let's exit out of here, and below you can see the A, B, C down here. Those are the function buttons on the remote. They change A, B, C, depending on what screen you're looking at. That will change. So right now we're going to hit C to cancel out of that because I don't want to change my settings. We'll go back over timers. I know they're kind of like a useless little feature, but I guess you could use it. Some people might like it. Sleep timer. It'll go off at a certain time. Power on timer, go on at a certain time. That's probably more useful. You can actually set it so the TV will go on and kind of wake you up as a kind of like an alarm clock. Let's go a little bit in there. See, you can set what channel you want it to come on, when it comes on. I have mine set to CNN, and every day it'll come on at 7 a.m. and show CNN. So, neat little feature, I think, for that particular area of the time. Basically, your TV can become a fancy alarm clock. So let's exit out of here. I'm going to cancel by hitting C because I don't want to change that. Power off, it's the same type of thing. And reminders, don't remember what's in reminders. There are no reminders set at this time. I've never used the reminders. I think it reminds you of certain shows that are coming on. It'll give you a little blurb on the screen as to, oh, by the way, you have this show coming on. You know, you want to go watch it or you want to record it, that type of thing. Maybe useful to some. So I will hit A for OK. See down there, because I'm not interested in changing that, or if I could change it. All right, and then further down we have receivers. And in receivers, AC outlet use. Let's go into that, see what that is. Always on. So basically, for this particular receiver, I select this option, always on. That plug, that AC out on the back of the TV will basically stay on, will be powered up all the time. Always off, I have it set for off because I don't have a receiver or anything plugged into it. And this one down here, on with receiver. Nice little feature. If you're running out of outlets or you need to power everything up automatically, you plug your receiver in there. As soon as you turn this box on, it powers up the receiver. So yeah, that's a nice little feature. Front panel display options. Let's look at that. Time always. There we go. I've got to switch hands. My hands are getting tired holding this damn phone. And my TV is set up high for the family room, so it's about 5 feet off the ground. So I'm looking up. It's nice when I'm sitting back on the couch, though. It's easier to see. You know what I mean? But not for videotaping. All right. So time always. Okay. Okay. So this is for the front panel. Okay. That controls what's happening actually out on the actual front of the box. So right, I have it set now, I believe, for channel when tuning. So that's the option. If I were to select that one, it'll only show the time all the time. This one here, it'll only show the channel. If I change it there, you see how the time changed, and now it's showing that I'm on channel 1022. but I prefer having the time, so I leave it here. See how it went back to today's correct time? Okay. And let's get rid of this light. I don't think I need a light for you guys. That white spot in the screen is bugging me. Okay. All right, where else now? So we looked at that. Let's go back. Front display, front panel display, DVR network. Let's take a look at that. Okay, change receiver name. You name each receiver, which I already did. I've got 2 of them, as I mentioned. When you select that, you can go in and actually type in the specific room that the receiver is located in, and then save it. So let me cancel out of there. Change network status. I hit that. You can make it visible or invisible. Basically, so if you have other boxes in the room, let's say you have a box in your bedroom for you and the wife, and you have specific shows recorded, and you have maybe a few other boxes in the house. You don't want the kids to access your hard drive or be able to see it. You can put it to invisible, and then nobody else on the network will be able to see the content on that hard drive. So that is smart. And obviously, this is the information for the box, the serial number. So if you need to call your cable company, you're having a specific problem with one box, you need to call the cable company, just address that box. You can just give them the last 4 digits of that serial number, and they'll send a specific, we call it a hit, but an initialization hit that recycles the box and resets it. All right, so let's bail out of there. Okay, view DVR network. Those are my 2 boxes. One is called family room, and the other is called bedroom. And if I select, let's select bedroom, see what happens. It doesn't allow me to select it. So this is only for display purposes. I can't go any further within this particular settings. So I'll go back and then say this one is view MoCA password. This is just a pin. You know, here see what it says? To use parental controls, initiate pin. Okay, initial pin. So let's exit out of there. We'll hit C. And we'll go back out of this menu, and down here, power management. We all know what that is. Take a quick look at that. Let's back out of there. So that's that. That's the settings within this box. Got a lot of usability to it. So kind of like it. Let's exit out of this guide. Takes us back to the picture. If we hit this little arrow button, the left arrow button here, it'll pop up a quick guide type of thing, and that's what you're seeing here. It's got you can quickly go to the guide or the on-demand list, the DVR list, which is your hard drive. You can look at recommendations. You can search, interactive view, settings, we were just in that. I don't think we did interactive view. Let's take a quick look at that. We're back to the card setup once again, and this is broken into 2 areas. It's called zone channels and phone tools. Okay, in zone channels, we got Kids Zone. When we select that, it pulls up mini screens of about 6 different channels. Right now it's displaying channel 70, 71, 20, 100, and so forth. And you can basically see what's going on all the channels. It's kind of useful if you're in sports view, I guess, and you want to see what's going on different channels. But I don't use this very much. So let's exit out of here. And let's get back into our little sub-menu here. Exit out of this this banner, and I think we left off here at interactive. So here are the zones. We were just looking at Kids Zone. there's news. Obviously, it'll show you 6 news channels, and same thing for sports. Let's go over to phone tools. In the phone tools, it has a call log. So you can see all the calls that came into your house, and that's a service that's affiliated directly with the service provider. They turn this feature on if you have your phone and video services with particularly one provider. Some providers will offer the ability to do on-screen caller ID, and that's exactly what this does. The box just remembers everybody that calls, so you can look at it. See, like last night at 6 p.m., I got some call out of Los Angeles. I don't know who the hell that was. I didn't answer it. But if we go down here, TV caller ID, select that. You have the ability to turn it on or off. And then, you know, finer functions like the duration of how long the banner will stay up and so forth. Let's exit out of here. And what else do we have with this bad boy? Keep going down. Customer support. There's something interesting in here. Okay. Technical support, cable receivers, and run receiver test. This is a nice little feature. I've used this in the past. If you go over here, cable receivers, test report, we select that. I recently ran a test on the system when I had that issue with severe tiling on one of the Laker channels, and these are the results I got. It did a connectivity test, and it passed that one. Connectivity test 2, passed that one, and so forth. So it ran 3 tests. The on-demand test, sometimes the on-demand, I believe the on-demand, it's fed through a third-party server, so it specifically will test that. And if it fails, then you obviously got a problem. But that was, you know, nice little feature to be able to go in there. Let's see if we can exit out of here. The only thing, though, what I don't like is sometimes when you hit exit, it takes you out of your entire screen menu wherever you were working. So you got to start over. You got to go back in there and go back down, find where you left off, and reload it again. You know, and then so we're back on this. We just did technical support. I showed you guys how that worked. Cable receiver. Let's look at that. It's loading some sort of engine right now. I just selected cable receiver. I believe this is where I ran the test before. I don't do this very often, so I don't even remember. Actually, I hate watching TV. I work with them all day, so my first thing is not to come home and mess with my TV. And if this doesn't gather its information quickly, I'm bailing out. Alert! See that? We got a little message here when I just tried to run the test. We are sorry, we are currently experiencing technical difficulties. Typical for a cable company. So let's exit out of there. We ran the test, receiver test report. Oh, this one here, running of the test. This is where you do that. See how it's running it now? And this process takes, I think, about 2 minutes. But it is, I do like it, because this is basically telling you connectivity issues. I spoke a lot about signal and infrastructure, and you know, I'm a huge proponent of a solid infrastructure. This is actually testing what's going on the network, and pass the first connectivity test, and it'll pass the second, and also it'll run the network test also, and it should pass that too. But I'm a huge supporter of good and solid infrastructure. Without proper infrastructure, if you're cutting corners, nothing's going to work. You're just asking for problems. And now it's completed and it's passed everything. And at the bottom there, we've got watch intro video. I saw that. It's stupid. View test reports. That's what we looked at before. And then I'll just hit C for watch TV, or maybe not C. Maybe I'll just try to go exit and see what happens. Oh, it took me back out of it. See here? I see there we go again, completely out of the menu, which I didn't really want to do because there might have been something else I wanted to look at. So now I got to go back in there because I think I covered everything. We all know what user agreement is, privacy. Those are just privacy agreements. Okay, fine. And that's the basics of the guide. It does a few more things, but if you see this video and you have any questions, just ask me, post it beneath the video, and I'll do my best to answer it for you. There's a couple other things I wanted to show you guys. I probably should save it for another video, but it's a useful feature when troubleshooting. If you're looking for more detailed infrastructure-related information, you can enter that. There's a diagnostic screen that you can enter within this particular model of a set-top box by Cisco. If you locate the power button, let me get the light turned back on my camera. There we go. You locate the power button and locate the power light button. It's right here. Right here you can see two lights, one on top of another. The power button is the actual top light right here. Okay. So if we hold down this power button until that light starts flashing, and then hit the power button again, it takes us into the diagnostic screen, which has a wealth of information. Okay, so my arms are getting tired, but I'm going to cycle through these pages real quick so you guys can see what they kind of look like. There's a total of 43 of them, and I'm using the plus and minus buttons right here. Page up, page down type thing. So let's go plus and keep that camera steady, Adrian, and let's kill that light because we're getting a glare. Okay, there we go. Okay, so that's the first screen. That's page 2, 3, and it's loading this third page, the DOCSIS status page. This is the communication between our cable company and this particular box. It has QAM settings, QAM 64 on the upstream, the downstream, QAM 256, and all the various levels. I use these a lot. The signal levels here, I'm at 42.2 dBs and negative 2.1 dBs on the downstream. So upstream and downstream and other information below there. That's very useful when you're troubleshooting. Let's keep cycling. And like I said, my arm's getting tired, so I'm going to cycle through this fairly quickly. Oops. Come on, there we go. Okay. That's page 5. Switch hands while that's loading. Okay. Page 6. 7. Host QAM status. I believe those are the two, the dual tuners within that cable card. I think they're using a Motorola cable card on the Cisco platform, which I find interesting, but whatever. So you can look at both cable cards, see how they're performing here. I'm sorry, both tuners. Host bootloader. Cable card conditional access application. Page 17, cable card interface. A lot of this information is useless. It only means something to the cable card providers. Useless to me anyway, for now. If you guys recognize any of this stuff and you know what some of this stuff is, throw it up on the below the video, post it. Page 25, we're almost there. This page I actually use quite often, the Dvr Mocha Summary. It gives me an idea of how this box is performing in the network when I get linked up with the other box, my LP checksum levels. You know, there's some useful stuff in here on some of these pages. $27, $28, $29, IP addresses. That's good to know. Energy management. I don't care about that. $32, $33, $34, $35, $36, $37, $38, $39, 40, 41, 42. Perhaps I should turn off that overhead light. I'm getting that little bit of glare, my track lighting up there. Hopefully this will, you guys can see it. And there's 43, and then back to the main page. One nice little feature too, if you're in this diagnostic screen and you know you're experiencing a particular problem with the picture on a specific channel, you can just be on the channel and get into this screen like I showed you. And if you select the function button B, hopefully you can see that B right there, it'll bring up the picture. It'll overlay the diagnostic information over your picture, and you might even be able to get it a little brighter too if you keep hitting it. See that? And then you hit it again, and again it'll eventually cycle back, go to the brightest, and then goes back to black. But it's still putting out audio though, so that's a cool little feature so you can actually see visually what's happening to the signal, and also be able to see the actual numbers that corresponds when that particular anomaly happens. So all in all, not bad. Once again, this is the Cisco Explorer 8642 HDC. Talk to you later. Oh, like I said, any questions? You have a problem, you think I'm full of shit or whatever, I don't know. I'm learning too. Just post it right beneath this video, all right? Later.